Well, hey, Church on the Move Glenpool. I am obviously here with Pastor Seth, and we wanted to make this video today to kind of keep you up to date on what's been happening. Maybe you've been hearing some stuff. Maybe somebody's called you. Maybe somebody sent you something on Facebook, and you're like, wait a minute, what's going on? What's happening?
Yeah.
And so we wanted to give you a little bit of behind-the-scenes story. I've been hinting at this for a while. Been asking for prayer, been saying there's some big things coming, but you know, I could only say so much. Back last year, goodness, October, somewhere in there, the Lord just put it on my heart through a connection that we'd been having with Solace Church in the west side of the city, a church that I had been in connection with for years through the founding pastor there, a church that had been through a lot of struggle, some difficulty, and was kind of leaderless at the time. I had Brian Job, our executive pastor, reach out to them and say, hey, we'd have been having some conversation and connection. Hey, we're hiring a pastor. You're looking for a pastor. We're looking for a building. Is there any sense in us merging these congregations and adopting Solace into the Church on the Move family? And, you know, I just thought it's a long shot, but I honestly felt maybe a little bit of the Spirit of God on it, just like, hey, try this. Let's see what happens. Lo and behold, they wanted to talk, and we got together. It was kind of awkward at first, a little standoffish, everybody testing each other, and asking questions, as you do, as you should do. If you're, you know, shepherding and stewarding something well, you want to be thoughtful. So went from one meeting to another meeting to a meeting of the elders with our leadership team. And long story short, God just kept opening doors. Yeah. What we've just been saying is this an opportunity? Is this something that God wants to do? Is there an openness here? And I've learned this a long time ago, and we'll learn this really from following God, or following my dad and following God. And you've heard me talk about this before, Hebrews 11:8, that by faith, when Abraham was called to go to a land he would later receive as his inheritance, he obeyed and went even though he didn't know where he was going. And that's a bit of how God's led us at Church on the Move. It's not through a 10-year, 20-year strategic master plan. I can tell you, you know, for those of you who are at Church on the Move under my dad's leadership, he didn't have a vision for all of this and everything that God has done. He didn't see all that. It happened one step at a time, one open door at a time. Yeah. So you knock on a door and you say, Lord, is there something here? And if there is, then we move forward. And there's just been an amazing open door here. Solace is a church that has done some great things in the west part of the city and has a beautiful piece of property there and a congregation without a shepherd right now, and is been hurting for a few years. And there's a lot of similarities in the things they do and the things that we do. And the more we've talked to the elders and the staff there, the more we've just come to the conclusion that, gosh, these are our kind of people. This really could work. So this last weekend, what you may have heard was they made an announcement. Ryan, who is the kind of lead staff person there right now, preached what I think is just a tremendous sermon. And if you want to look them up on Facebook, you can look up Solace Church and watch the service from this last weekend. I would encourage you to do it. In fact, on this post, we'll see if we can link to it so you can see it. He did an incredible job kind of laying out the story of what God's done with them. And it would be great for you to be able to see that. Now you might ask, well, why didn't we say something about this? Why am I hearing about this via video? Well, because this is really not our story to tell just yet. As you could imagine, when you have a congregation that's fought so hard and done so much to build that building and to get that church up and going from nothing, and so many people, the blood, sweat, and tears and the investment that they've got, this is a huge decision for them. And one that we did not want to spill too quickly and talk about on our end so that it would get back to them. We're honoring them. So we said, look, we're moving at your pace. And so they went this weekend, and had a meeting with their congregation, and we weren't even entirely sure what that was going to look like. And then it was on Facebook, and now it's like, oh wow, people know, and it's out there.
Yeah.
And so we said, okay, so this is something that we need to talk about. So that's why we haven't talked about it publicly yet. But obviously, it's out there, and we're excited. Honestly, we're very excited. So here's what's cool. Seth, the church that he came from, Victory Life in Atoka, this is what's amazing about all of this. We did not interview him with an eye toward this church merger adoption that we're looking at here. But when we started talking about this seriously with Solace, we said, Seth, how many campuses did Victory Life have? And you said
we had 11.
And I said, okay, and I don't think that you guys built all of those. How did you get them?
Yeah, adoptions. So
I was like, are you serious? And he said, so just give a little of your history.
Yeah, no, so it was, God's hand's been on this whole process because, not only, so 20 years ago, I was a part of a church that was adopted into, so I know what that feels like. I know what that mental process is like. I know the questions you ask. I know the emotions that you deal with to see a church that you fought for, bled for, prayed for, to see that sign, that name pulled off the wall, and to see another name go up. But I've seen that side of it, but I've seen the benefit of it. And then, 15 years later, I'm in a leadership role where now I'm leading some of those adoptions and helping walk other people through. So it really is a story of God using the comfort that he used in my life 20 years ago to now help comfort others. And so walking in, it was just another one of those check marks for me that this is God, because that wasn't questions that you guys asked me, wasn't things that you knew. And it puts us in a unique position to really love the people of Solace and serve them really well.
So just to be really clear, here's what we're talking about doing.
Yep.
What would be happening is Church on the Move Glenpool at its location would close. We would move into what we would call Church on the Move West. And we would move into this building. It would mean a building for Church on the Move West, formerly Church on the Move Glenpool. And I'm talking a great piece of property with an awesome opportunity to reach people in an area that is, it's an area of the city that we're not in right now.
Yeah.
And it's not terribly far from Glenpool. Again, it just depends on how you think about it. But I look at this as an amazing God opportunity. And so we're just asking you to take steps of faith with us. I recognize that there's going to be people who go, well, maybe this doesn't work for me. I understand that.
Yeah.
But we just feel like the connection and the door that's been opened is so undeniably a God thing right now that we're going to continue walking through it. It's amazing because this year we could end up with all of our churches and buildings, permanent facilities, and I don't think Glenpool saw that coming. But we've known, and really more importantly, God's known, and it's really cool. So here's what you can do. Be praying for this. Here's what's going to happen over the next 4 weeks. In fact, Seth, just give them a timeline.
Yeah, so actually I'm going to go preach at Solace this week and just kind of make that introduction and just be available to know people, do some Q&A. We're going to send Shane over in a couple weeks just to lead worship. You're going to be over there the 21st to speak. And we just want them to know who we are, know the heart in which we do ministry and how we care for people. And then on the 28th, by their governance, they're going to take this to a congregational vote, and the congregation is going to have a voice. And so we're believing that, we've approached this very open-handedly. God, if this is you, keep the door open. If this isn't, then slam the door shut. We want your kingdom to come, your will to be done. And so once that congregational vote happens the 28th, we'll really know where we need to go. And then we've started anticipating and assuming that the vote's going to be yes, because we do feel like God's in this. And so we've started putting some things into place of what that timeline would look like to bring these two congregations together. Okay, Seth, in the meantime, and I'm putting you on the spot here, we didn't talk about this before, I have questions. Oh man, what's going to happen? What's this going to mean? I want some answers because this is my church being affected here too. Yeah. Who do I turn to? Who do I need to talk to? Yeah, our team, our Glenpool staff. They know, they've been in the know. We'll make sure that you've got contact information, email addresses, phone numbers, to where you can reach out to us and just let us know. If nothing else, it's always magic in Glenpool. Text Glenpool to 23101, and we'll make sure that there's a spot where you can get connected and get your questions answered, and we can set up a time to meet or answer any of those. So
Awesome. Thank you for your prayers.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, I'm excited. We're excited.
Yeah.
This is so cool. And I just see resurrection for that church, but also something new being birthed out of both churches together. I see the opportunity for God to do something new, and for Glenpool to take a step forward, and for Solace to take a step forward, and kind of the joining of that to become COTM West. Pretty cool. And be praying about that with us. We're so excited for this. And there'll be more information to come. And we'll let you know as we get it. But we wanted to make this video just so that you knew kind of what we knew. All right?
yeah,
God bless you guys. Thanks for your prayers.
thanks.